Yo, Ervits assessment. We're back. UFC 253. What a card! That was great. I mean, at least the two title fights were amazing. One-sided, but amazing. Yeah. So remember, I had went over 4 fights. I'm gonna go over those. Made predictions on 4 fights. I'm gonna go over those 4 fights. Tell you how I did, and then we'll jump right into UFC Fight Night. Holm versus Aldana. All right. So we had the pay-per-view this past Saturday. So the first fight I had went over was Vera against Sajara Eubanks. So it was a good fight. It was a good technical fight. I thought Eubanks was going to have the edge there. She actually didn't. I think she had trouble with Vera's reach because Vera's a lot taller and had a lot longer of a reach. She did get a couple of takedowns on her as well. But really, like I said, even though the fight took place standing up, I really thought Eubanks was going to take advantage of it. Though I did not pick Eubanks. I did pick Vera to win just because I thought she would be able to take her to the ground. I'm just saying from Eubanks' standpoint, you would think if the fight was standing up and that's your specialty, do good. She didn't. Vera gets the win. That's good for her. She needed that after that TKO loss she had last time against Aldana. So that'll keep her, I think, pretty good in the rankings, and maybe she can fight a top 5 woman next, and we'll see what happens from there. So the next fight I went over was in the men's flyweight division. It was number 7, Kai Kara France, against, I think, Brandon Royval was like number 10. I think that's what I want to say, he was ranked number 10. But I remember I had picked Brandon Royval to win that fight, and he did. But man, that was a fun fight. So in the first round, you could see Kara cracks, France, yeah, he cracks Royval. He gets stunned a little bit, pops up, then gets stunned again. But as he's getting stunned, and you see Kai Kara come up to him, he just kind of flings his arm, does like a spinning back fist. He rocks Kai Kara France. So that was like pretty crazy. Then it was just back and forth for a little bit in that round. Then in the second round, you know, Royval was, you could see he felt more confident. His stand-up was getting better. And then he just kind of, what he does is, if you see, he kind of like jumps up, gets Royval in a standing guillotine, just then drops down to the floor, gets it. Kai Kara he couldn't get out. He couldn't do anything. Taps out. Boom. That was great. Brandon Royval, I think it's a name to watch for in the men's flyweight division. He's young too. So, you know, his stand-up, again, he got rocked a little bit early. He even said it that he wasn't happy with his performance. So he's going to tune things up there. He's a beast on the ground as well because this is, you know, he submitted Tim Elliott. Now he submits Kai Kara France. I think he's going to be a problem in the men's flyweight division. So, you know, this should bump him up to number 7 or number 6. And I want to see him face a top 5 guy. I think that would be great. I think there's some good matchups there for him. But that will be, I mean, he's somebody to watch out for. Remember that name, Brandon Royval. So I was 2 for 2 there. So here we go with the title fights. Woo! These were good. All right. They're kind of one-sided. Not like I didn't expect both of these fights to be that one-sided. But so the first fight was for the vacant light heavyweight championship. It was Dominic Reyes against Jan Blachowicz. Now, if you remember, John Jones relinquished his title. He's probably moving up to heavyweight, though we'll see. We're not sure yet. So number 1 ranked was Dominic Reyes. Number 3, Jan Blachowicz. Now, remember, I thought Reyes had beat John Jones in his last fight, so I think he should have already been champ. Now, I was projecting him to win this fight. I thought it would be kind of close, but I didn't think he would be, you know, but I thought he would eventually prevail. Oh, man, I was wrong. So were a lot of people. Jan Blachowicz did phenomenal. So in the first round, you know, they're both standing up. And Jan just starts kicking Reyes to the ribs. And I think he just landed maybe two kicks. And Reyes' entire side was just like blood red. I'm talking about you could see a bruise developing. So I think that already had played into the second round, which is what I'll go over. Reyes landed a couple good shots, but nothing to make Jan worried. So the second round starts, and Jan, again, goes to the body there. Then what you see is he throws a punch, boom, right on the nose, splits Reyes' nose, it breaks. You can see it, and it's just split there. Then Reyes, you can see he's kind of stunned. Blachowicz just gets a couple of good punches in, boom, drops Reyes, some ground and pound, fight is over. You have a new light heavyweight champion, 37-year-old Jan Blachowicz. I thought he did amazing. It's crazy because if you have followed his career, he started off 2-4 in the UFC, and now he is the light heavyweight champ. That's why I love, and he's a nice guy. He's very nice. He's always humble, very respectful. It's good to see somebody like that. I hope he can make a couple successful defenses because people like that have humble nature. I like that. I root for them, so I'll be rooting for Jan. I hope he can successfully defend the title a few times. He did call out John Jones. John Jones says he's thinking about it. We'll see. I thought he might stay at heavyweight. I don't know. I guess it just all depends. But for Reyes, I think he should fight. So in next month, I think next month or in November, we'll have, which I think Jan will face the winner of, Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira, because they're number 2 and 4. So the winner of that, I think, will fight Jan. I think the loser should fight Dominic Reyes, just because it could kind of get him back into that title picture since their rankings are within the top 5. So that will be, I think, what's next for Reyes. Like I said, for Jan, the winner of that. So congratulations. And the main event. Oh man, I'm sorry. Let me go back to that. I got that one incorrect because I picked Dominic Reyes to win the fight. So 2-1 there. The main event. Woo, woo, woo. Israel Adesanya, the champ, against number 1 contender, undefeated Paulo Costa. Remember, this was the battle of whose O will go. Remember, I had said I thought Adesanya would win by a late TKO or unanimous decision. Wow, well, he won with the second round TKO. What a phenomenal performance by Adesanya. I think he got in Paulo Costa's head, and I think once he started... So what he basically did in the beginning was he's hitting Paulo Costa with leg kicks. Just leg kicks, like the lead leg. Now, what that does is it negates your power eventually. Of course, you'll feel it later on in the fight, and you lose your power, you're not stable enough, and Adesanya was doing that. Now, Costa did land a couple of body kicks on Adesanya in the first round, but Adesanya wasn't fazed by it. You could see that the leg kicks were starting to bother Costa. When the second round comes, I noticed it. I don't know how many people, if people didn't notice it or they did. There was a leg kick that Adesanya lands in the second round, and you can see Costa kind of wince. Okay, so I knew at that point, I'm like, oh, this dude's done. And boy, he was. Then Adesanya gets Costa with a leg kick, busts him open. Then you can see Costa tries to throw a punch. Adesanya counters it. Shot to the temple, drops. Costa, boom, 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 punches on the ground. Fight over. TKO, second round victory for Israel Adesanya, who remains undefeated. That dude is a beast. What I did like too is that he gave a little hump to Costa at the end. He did a little, after he pounded him out, humped him. That's for all the crap that Costa was talking. Him and his team were talking. Even afterwards the fight, they were still talking crap. Costa's trainers. Crazy. For Costa, for him, I think he needs to fight a top 5 guy, maybe like Kelvin Gastelum or I don't know who else is there. Maybe the loser of Whitaker versus Cannonier. I think he should fight maybe there. For Adesanya, so he already said too, he said it in the post-fight that he wants to fight the winner, preferably Cannonier, who's going to be fighting Robert Whitaker, the former champ. But I think the winner of that fight will fight Adesanya next. I know people are saying, well, if Whitaker wins, maybe he should get one more. I don't know. If you're beating a guy that Cannonier, a lot of people are thinking that he could give Izzy problems. If he can beat him, I think he deserves a rematch against Adesanya. I mean, he's still the number 1 contender. So that will be for Izzy. Personally, I have a hard time seeing anybody beating Israel Adesanya right now. Cannonier's tough, and I think if he beats Whitaker, I think he'll have a good shot against Izzy. But right now, Israel's just on another level. The way he just figures you out, counterpunching, he's slick, he has precision, he has power. I mean, again, nobody had really done anything to Costa before. He knocks him out. I mean, TKO. I mean, and it wasn't even close. It was just a complete one-sided performance. That was amazing. Again, I think he might be the future GOAT, so we'll see what he does with his career. But I'm looking forward. Everybody, you guys should watch Israel Adesanya. He's amazing. All right. So I'm going to now jump into UFC Fight Night, Holm versus Aldana. I'll be going over 3 fights in that one. So there we go. All right, so for the first fight I'm going to be going over in the Fight Night will be in the women's bantamweight division. It will be number 1 number 1 ranked Germaine de Randamie against number 4 Juliana Pena. Now, if you remember, Germaine Randamie, she's won 4 of her last 5, but in her last fight, she lost to the GOAT, who is Amanda Nunes. If you don't know, she lost to her, so no shame in there. I mean, everybody's lost to Nunes. While Juliana Pena won her last fight by unanimous decision against Nico Montano. She's won 4 of her last 5, her only loss to being probably the second best women's fighter right now, Valentina Shevchenko. I think this will be a good fight. de Randamie has great stand-up. I think she'll want to keep the fight standing up, where I think Pena will try to go into the fight, and she's, better on the ground. I think she'll want to take de Randamie down. My prediction, I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go with Juliana Pena. I'm hoping she's healthy now because, she's missed a couple of years with injuries, but you can see she had a lot of potential after the Ultimate Fighter. She's still young enough. She's 31. de Randamie's 38. Not saying that that's, eventually, that's bad because, look, Jan is the light heavyweight champion. He's 37 years old. So I'm not saying that means anything. I just like the way Pena's career was heading before those injuries. I think she's healthy now. I mean, again, losing to Shevchenko is not a bad thing. I mean, pretty much everybody's lost her except for Amanda Nunes, who's the GOAT. So, I think, but Pena's won 4 out of 5. I think she's on a good roll now. I think she'll win this fight against Germaine de Randamie, which I think should bump her up. Could bump her up to number 1. I'm not too sure. We'll see what happens there, but it'll be a good fight. And like I said, I got Juliana Pena there. The next fight, which is the co-main event that I'll be going over, is in the men's heavyweight division. Now, personally, I think the women's fight should have been the co-main event, but hey, I'm not the one who makes these rules. But yeah, it's going to be Yorgan De Castro against Felipe Silva. Now, Yorgan Castro has won 4 of his last 5, though his last fight he lost by unanimous decision to Greg Hardy. Yes, if that name does sound familiar to you, this is the former NFL defensive star, Greg Hardy. So he's now made his move into MMA. So I thought Yorgan should have won that fight. He didn't look good there. But yeah, he lost. And then Felipe lost to, he lost his last fight too, Sergey Spivak by a majority decision. But he's also won 4 of his last 5. I'm going to pick Felipe Silva to win, just because I think he's younger. I think I'm hoping at least he made adjustments in that Spivak fight. But I think he will beat Yorgan De Castro. Again, Yorgan, I was not impressed, especially the way he fought against Greg Hardy, who does not have experience. Yorgan does. And to lose to an experienced guy like that by unanimous decision is not a good look, in my opinion. I mean, maybe he fixed things up, but I'm going to go with the upset there. I'm going to pick Felipe Silva. Yeah, so that's number 2. And the third fight, which would be the main event, will be number 2 ranked Holly Holm against number 6 ranked Irina Aldana. And that fight's in the bantamweight division. So Holly Holm is a former champ. Remember, she beat Ronda Rousey to become champ. She's had a few opportunities, for the belt since then. She lost to Amanda Nunes by TKO. She lost to Cyborg by unanimous decision. So she's won 3 out of her last 5, those being the 2 losses. Again, no shame in losing to those 2. She did beat Raquel Pennington in her last fight. Like I said, she has a champ. She's been in there with pretty much everybody that you could think of in women's MMA. She's battle tested. She has experience. Like I said, she was a former champ. But I'm going to go with the upset, and I'm going to go with Irina Aldana. The reason why I'm going to go with Aldana is she's looked really good. She's won 4 of her last fights. She's coming off of TKO victory against Caitlin Vera. She's young. You can see she's making strides. She's getting better as her career is progressing. And I think this will be a good test, for her. I think to see where she stands. I think she'll beat Holm, and then I think she'll jump up to probably number 2 there. It'll be great because I think there will be some need to see some new blood going against Amanda Nunes. Because, like I said, Nunes already beat de Randamie. She already beat Holm. So if Pena can win and Aldana can win, those present 2 new challenges for Amanda Nunes. So I'm hoping they win also. I think they will win. I think we'll see some new blood and some new faces to test Amanda Nunes. So like I said, remember, I'm going with, in this fight night, Juliana Pena, Felipe Silva in the co-main, and in the main event, I got Irina Aldana. Now remember, this is UFC Fight Night. If you guys could please like, comment, subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. There's going to be a ton of MMA fights coming, so we'll be going over all those. All right, y'all. Peace.